Nam and welcome everyone to yet another installment of your Miracle Mantra Moment, where we chant Dandan Ram Das Guru, the Shabad, the mantra, and I talk a little bit about it. So if you'd like to put your name in the chat or in the comments section and let me know where you're from, and if you have any questions, then we can talk about them in a few minutes after we've finished chanting. So just before I start, I just thought I'd let you know. So if you've tuned into any of the previous ones, we've been going now for, this is our fourth installment. And I've been playing the same tune for the first three, which was a tune that I recorded a few years back. And today I'm going to play a different tune. And it's a tune that I was taught when I was first studying Gurbani Kirtan by my Gurbani Kirtan teacher, Bhai Bhagwan Singh, in the UK. And he is very well known. And sadly, he passed away just over a week ago. So in thinking of him through these few days since then, I just wanted to play this tune after not playing it for a long time. And so perhaps you have someone you know who is also left, or if you have just a feeling of wanting to say goodbye to something that's being transformed during this time, you can bring that up and you can release it through Guru Ram Das, through the power of that miracle of compassion. And so now I always say this, there's two ways you can do this with us. You can simply listen, chant along, that's fine. But there's also a mudra if you want to practice the mudra. And so you take your right thumb and you wrap your left hand around it like a fist. And then you bring your right fingers up along the back, around the back of your left hand. And you just place the mudra gently at the heart center, and your elbows are relaxed at the sides. I'm going to move this back a little bit so you can see me a little more. Okay, so here we go. Danna Ram Das Guru, Danna Ram Das Guru, Jinn Siriya Tinne Sumariya, Jinn Siriya Tinne Sumariya, Danna Ram Das Guru, Danna Ram Das Guru. Puri hovi karamat, puri hovi karamat, apsir janare dariya, apsir janare dariya, Danna Ram Das Guru, Danna Ram Das Guru, Jinn Siriya Tinne Sumariya, Jinn Siriya Tinne Sumariya, Danna Ram Das Guru, Danna Ram Das Guru. Sikhi ate sang Ram Karnam Sakariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Atal Ataho Atol Tu Atal Ataho Atol Tu Tera Antar Mariya Tera Antar Mariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Ram Jinni tu seviya paukar Jinni tu seviya paukar Se tu par utariya Se tu par utariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Love Lob Kama Krodh Moho Love Lob Kama Krodh Moho Mar Kande Dud Parmariya Mar Kande Dud Parmariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Tan से तेरा तान है तान से तेरा तान है सच तेरा सच तेरा Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Jinn Siriya Tinne Samariya Tanna Tanna Ram Sukura Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So I'm going to welcome everyone who have joined us And I know that some people will put comments and some might not, and that's fine. We've got people from, let's see, from the USA. Yeah, kind of figured that might be the case. And from India and from Kenya. Very nice. I'm going to pull this a little closer so I can see the chat. So I want to just check to see if any of you have any questions. Jesse from Laguna Niguel in California. Nice. And Ajit from Naples. And Kipral Singh, Tina from Denmark. Savine, Elizabeth, Sawag Singh, and Anne-Marie from Ireland. And different Dublin, we have Abhay joining us from Dublin, New Hampshire. And Abhay and his wife Sat Purakar were guests of mine last Friday for a wonderful program called Home Kirtan and Chat, where they played some music and we talked about what they played, and it was terrific, and I hope you'll check it out. It's still in the videos section of Sikh Dharma International Facebook page. And also this coming Friday, we'll do another of those programs. And my guest this coming Friday will be Mata Mandar Singh. Some of you know his music. And we have Adarsh Kar, we have Raymond, Expansion Wellness Center, Hari Sangat Kar from Mexico, Chandra from Michigan, Chandra Ardas, from Michigan, and Lakvir Singh. Not sure where you are from, Lakvir Singh, but anyway, so again, I was wondering if anybody had any questions. So I have talked in previous programs a lot about the Shabad, and it's very meaningful to me. I've been singing the Shabad, for, I'll say 35 years, if not longer. And if you've ever been to the Hari Mandir Sahib in Amritsar, you know that this Shabad is very connected to that place. And I've talked about how this Shabad, this mantra, came into being, how it was part of a much longer composition created by two musicians who had turned their back on the Guru, on Guru Arjan, when he was first newly installed as the Guru of the Sikhs, and how in order to come back, to find a way back to be in the court of Guru Arjan, they had to go through some trials and some transformation. In yoga, we talk about these 5 stages of being, and one of them is Shaktipad. And that's where you hit a wall in your own evolution, where your ego does not want to let go. And so in this story about the Shabad, you can see that perhaps that's really what was going on with these two musicians, is that they valued their own worth much more than it really was. And so they turned away from the Guru. And so part of their road back was the writing of this. And the words are beautiful. And it has come to be very significant for people who go to the Hari Mandir Sahib, Darbar Sahib in Amritsar, beautiful golden temple. It's played there daily and has been for hundreds, at least a couple hundred years, possibly 300 years. And and people who go there become very familiar. If they go regularly, if you go and stay there for a few days, you're going to hear that Shabad definitely a few times. And there's a significance that doesn't get talked about much, and that is that because of these two musicians leaving the court of Guru Arjan at that time, it created a void, and the Sikhs who were there to be with Guru Arjan had not really put time into developing their skills as kirtanis, as people who could play music to support the singing of the Gurbani. And so Guru Arjan inspired them to start doing that. And he laid out a whole set of guidelines of how that should be done. And I don't mean the mechanics of the music, but rather just that it was a consciousness that the person should embody. And so this is where the first use of the word ragi originated. Before that time, virtually all the musicians who played in the court of the Guru were rababis, in that they played the rabab, which is a musical instrument, a stringed instrument, and it's traditional from that time in that area. And in fact, there are still people who play the rabab. And however, regardless of what instrument was used, Guru Arjan really defined that the musician's space is not, his role is not as a performer. He's not there to entertain in that moment. It's not that you can't also be a musician that entertains, but in that moment, in the court of the Guru, with these words, these mantras, these shabads, that these are sacred and the time is sacred. And therefore, what is happening is that the musician is serving that sacred experience, serving the Sangat, serving those who have gathered. It's not about being there to impress people, but rather to serve them, that the music may carry that experience for all of the Sangat who are present. And I think that's very good to remember, especially those of you who might be thinking, well, I play a little music, maybe I could do this too. And of course, I want to encourage you to start down that road. And you can learn all the music, you can become proficient with your instrument, you can train your voice. All of those things are excellent. But in the end, it's also about consciousness. And any good Indian musical teacher, especially classical music, rag. And I'm not saying you have to play rag, I'm not saying you have to study rag, but if you do, then any good teacher of that will also understand that their role is not just to teach you about the notes, but it is also about it is also teaching you about the consciousness of how to be a servant in that moment. And so, and it all originated from that time when this Shabad was originated. Guru Arjan seeing that there was a void, and also deciding that, okay, so now we have gotten by with these rababis for a long time, but now we need to own this. We need to take responsibility for all of this, that every Sikh of the Guru has the ability, has the self-initiation to be able to step into that role in any part of the practice of a Sikh, and whether you live as a Sikh, whether you declare yourself a Sikh, think of yourself as a Sikh, that's not what I'm talking about. It's about that, there is Sikh consciousness, and that can be picked up by anyone. There are millions and millions of people who visit the Harimandir Sahib in Amritsar every year, and a very large portion of them are not necessarily Sikhs. They come there for the blessing of the Gurbani, of the energy there that's been generated. They are served the langar, the food, the free kitchen that is offered there every day. And so it's a whole experience for them. But no one's at the gate saying, okay, only Sikhs can come in. All people are welcome. And that's true of Sikh teachings as well. So that, you don't need to declare yourself a Sikh to be able to pick up some of this consciousness and start to practice it. And I think that's the way that we all start who have not been born into this practice. And that is that we see a little window of something that makes sense. We pick it up, we try it, we find it works, and perhaps we look for something else. Or perhaps that one little thing can serve us for our lifetime. That's the thing about consciousness, is that it may seem like a little piece of something because there's so many pieces there to be had. And yet, if you can really take that one little teaching and apply it deeply into your consciousness, that can transform a lifetime, And anyway, I'm going to check the chat to see if we have any questions about this. I can keep on talking, but I just thought if anybody had a particular, let's see. Tina from Denmark, Elizabeth from Portugal, Satnam, and more from Ireland, Anne Marie. Oh, maybe that's the same post. Let's see. Yeah, I've seen these. From Germany, Danny, I'm not sure how you say that. From Boisenberg, and Iris from Mexico, Griselle from Mexico, Minnesota. Hi, Stacy. And Susie Johnson. Hi, Susie, from Hendersonville, North Carolina. Okay. Hanuman Singh saying more is needed to remind musicians the humility and devotion when playing the music in the court of the Guru. Yeah, that is true. As I say, there are some musicians who can bridge those two things quite well. They may also have another way that they play music, and in a concert or for friends or something, casually, other ways, and that's fine too, because music is not just one dimension. It has many dimensions, and part of it is sacred. And so when you're playing sacred music, that's when you need to step into that role as someone who holds that space. Let's see. Mariana from Sicily. Very nice for you to join us. Araceli is here. And Perla from Mexico. Satnam. A lot of people. It's from Creole Robinson. I don't know if I've got that first name right. From Iowa. And Olga from Manchester. Welcome. And Harsimrat from Ahmedabad. I'm having trouble saying that. Ahmedabad, India. Anyway, so nobody's asking questions. I don't know if that's because you're not having any questions, which is fine, or whether I'm just not interesting enough here. But so we don't normally take a long time in these programs, Tuesdays and Thursdays. The program is Your Miracle Mantra Moment. let me talk a little bit about miracle. Why do we talk about miracle with this particular Shabad? So, there's this line that we sing that's part of the Shabad. Buri hoi karamat apasidajan hare daria. It's the second line of the Shabad. And the translation is, perfect is your miracle. Buri hoi karamat. Perfect is your miracle. The Creator Lord himself has installed you on that throne, or placed you in that elevated space. Meaning that the writer of this Shabad is talking about Guru Ram Das, and saying that you have been elevated through the perfection of the miracle. Well, what was the miracle that Guru Ram Das could do? Was it some transforming ashes into gold? I don't know. No, it was really about manifesting humility and compassion. That was his miracle, that he could do that faced in the most difficult situations, with anybody at any level. His story is that he started very humble. He was poor, and his family, he was an orphan almost. He was brought up by his grandmother. And so he understood the essence of humility, of being very simple in life. And then later, as he became guru, even then, he would often at night, he would change into less beautiful clothing, more ordinary clothing, so that he would not be recognized. And he would go out into the town and he would help travelers, pilgrims who would be coming there to visit this amazing Guru Ram Das, And of course, he didn't let on that he was actually the Guru, but he would serve them. He'd wash their feet. He'd help them find food, all of that. And then when they would then go the next day to bow before the Guru and hear his words, they would be astonished to find that, oh my, he was the same person who was serving us and helping us, So that's the miracle. But as we sing this Shabad, that is also part of the experience that we can connect to, is understanding that through embodying compassion and humility, that then miracles arrive. They don't just arrive because we are somehow creating a contract with God. Well, if I sing these words, then the universe has to provide me a miracle. It's not the way it works. You have to let go of the expectations of the miracle, but you can hold the intention that, this is a situation, it needs some relief, it needs some help. For instance, with the coronavirus worldwide pandemic, it's like, this is a real thing. We, as humans, can pray that there be a miracle to help that, to ease the suffering of those people who are most affected. So we can hold that as we chant, as we sing the actual words, and that opens the door through our own intention, through our own holding that as an intention. It opens the door for that energy to flow through more fully and manifest through us, through other people, through just the working of the world. There's this great book that was written, a study, anthropological study done, I think about 60 years ago, on an island where they were studying the behavior of monkeys. And this particular population of monkeys was completely isolated on this island. They didn't have any influence of other populations of monkeys. And so the anthropologists studied them for a while, and they would notice that, over there might be a new behavior that some of them might do. And then it would kind of fade away, or just that area would do that behavior, but not all of the monkeys would do that behavior. But they found the phenomenon that in the population of, hundreds of monkeys, maybe thousands, that it was a particular threshold that if there were only 90 monkeys or 95 monkeys doing that behavior, or even 99 monkeys doing that behavior, it didn't seem to go anywhere, just in that local group. But as soon as there was 100th monkey added to that, and this is not literal, but you can imagine that there's a certain threshold of behavior that as soon as it reached a certain level, then that behavior spread throughout the whole population and everybody was doing it. And so this is also true of how we can initiate through our prayerful embodiment of a miracle. Just with our own few selves here, we are just, a few people online right now, but others will watch it, others will practice this. And that as we all do that we are opening that possibility that we reach that threshold and the floodgates open. So I'm giving you encouragement to keep up the practice. I'll be back here for the program on Thursday and the same time. And I hope that you'll join us then. And also on Friday, when I interview Madhaminder Singh. He'll be, each time we talk with a different musician on Friday, and each time they share some Gurbani, some Shabad, some mantra that is particularly useful, empowering, nurturing, soothing for them during this time of isolation for COVID-19. So I hope you'll join us. Send your friends, share it with others. And thank you again for joining us. And may you stay healthy, may you stay safe, and may you stay home. All right. Satnam, blessings. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.